and welcome to the Mani and Fariha show. As you can see, and as you probably know, I am Fariha, and we are missing Mani in action, but nonetheless, she is with us in spirit for sure. Thank you so much for accompanying me this evening. It's always a pleasure and a delight to have you here with me. And I know that over the past few weeks, and occasionally we have a tendency to joke about things that we're going through, our emotions, riding up and down. But recently, with the Bell Talks campaign addressing mental health concerns, I've been listening to awareness ads, I would say it, more like a public awareness notice on the radio of people sharing that they actually have obsessive compulsive disorder, and how they hear people saying things like, oh, I'm so OCD about this or that, whereas they are contending and suffering with it on an actual basis. And what they're going through is far beyond how we jokingly say OCD. So we will be touching upon some mental health issues and concerns because they are real and it's not a joking matter at all. I have two amazing guests with me today. From the radio show, you may be familiar with Gulsum Sayed, who is a behavioral cognitive therapist.
Yeah.
Yes. So welcome, Gulsum.
Thank you so much, Fariha.
And also Brittany. And I apologize, but I don't want to butcher your last name, so I will allow you. Christantos. Actually, it's not so bad or difficult when you say it. And both of these ladies, I would say, are experts when it comes to matters of mental health issues. One dealing with children with autism and having studied the topic academically. And then Brittany herself as someone who has lived through various conditions and then even wrote a book about it when she was 15. How amazing is that? And now she's on to developing workshops and seminars and going to schools to talk about the topic. So welcome, ladies. Such a pleasure to have you both.
Thank you so much for having us.
A pleasure indeed. Yes. I've been excited for a while since I knew these ladies were on. And I just felt that it was just so fitting with everything that we're talking about recently because it is a taboo subject. I was doing a project with the town of Richmond Hill, and I went to interview school principals, and they shared with me that sometimes they would have awareness evenings, but the parents of the children who suffered wouldn't turn up for the fear that they'd then be identified and the stigma attached to it, that, oh, so you're the parent with the child who has such and such, and then the label. And oftentimes, it's so sad that we are reduced to labels, whatever they may be. So I'd like to speak with you, first of all, Brittany, about your own experience and everything that you've been through, because it's quite a story indeed.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, as a 20-year-old right now, I can speak on behalf of a lot of teenagers who are going through depression because, like, when I was 15 or 14, I was battling with depression myself. I didn't know who to talk to, and going back to your statement where you said a lot of parents won't show up, and it's true because as an adult, I find they had a stigma towards, okay, like my daughter, it's embarrassment that my daughter is depressed, or it's something that it's going to embarrass our family. So when I was 14, I was so depressed to the point where, like, I didn't even want to wake up in the morning. It was so awful and
sounds very severe.
So severe, and I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know who would understand me, and I didn't want to be put into this mental health stigma, right? So I kept it quiet, and to the point where it got so bad that it came to a point where I was going to say, it's life or death. Should I end my life or not? And someone who's, gone through the battles and battled with these demons inside myself, I can, speak on behalf of a lot of other teens who have spoken to me over, book tours and workshops, and they tell me, I'm scared to speak up. I'm afraid that my parents are not going to understand. I'm afraid my friends will think I'm crazy. And there's this huge attachment towards mental health. So I find I feel sympathy and empathy towards these kids because I know how it feels, right? I know how it feels to go through that and to still be young and to be facing battles on my own. So.
And it sounds like you did feel very isolated, not having anyone to turn to. And what you shared with us, the fact that you didn't want to share with your peers or with your family for the sake of them not understanding or them being embarrassed. There truly is so much attached to it.
So much. It's as a young person, I find that people feel this burden, and if I'm going to tell someone how I feel, I don't want to put my burdens onto others. I don't want to feel shameful, or I don't want people to think that I have a problem, and so we stay quiet and we isolate our feelings and our emotions, and we repress it inside ourselves because we are afraid that if I open up, if I talk about what's going inside myself, then maybe I will go crazy, first of all, or maybe other people will think I'm crazy. And actually dealing with emotions, I find, is harder than keeping it bottled up sometimes. So there's just like fear as well with healing is I'm afraid to look inside myself and to heal these wounds because first of all, the peers and the embarrassment and the burden, but not more than that. It's more like I'm afraid once I do look at myself, or
what are you going to find?
What am I going to see? What am I going to feel? What am I going to find? And when I look myself in the mirror and I see all these issues and all these bottling,
bottled
things,
up
emotions
coming out,
things that I've gone through, we've gone through as a child, or whatever feelings we have inside ourselves. We're afraid that who's going to show up when I look myself in that mirror, right? So it's a scary feeling for an adult, but like can you imagine like a 14-year-old girl or 15, 12 who doesn't understand why she's feeling this way?
Yeah.
So it's a topic that needs to be discussed, I think.
And definitely awareness created around it. So as a therapist, Kulsum, what has your experience been?
My experience has been like, because I'm not the one who's going through it, but I can see I'm the one who's supposed to be the one with empathy.
Yeah.
And I see these kids, these families every day. I deal with them every day. I work with the kids. Currently, I'm working with the kids. Before, I worked with the teenagers.
Yeah.
So
what age are these children?
Well, it depends what age they get diagnosed. So more like most around like autism, since I'm working in the field of autism only at this point. But I do get clients who have autism and who are dual diagnoses with autism and depression. But depression does not get diagnosed until the later ages. Personality disorder, schizophrenia.
What's the youngest client that you've had?
I currently have a client who's 4.
4. Yeah. Wow. That is so heartbreaking.
I've had clients in the past 3.5, 4. The youngest I've had a long time ago was 2.
And what was that for autism?
For autism. Yeah. And of course, like, they got the kids who get diagnosed at early ages, they didn't meet the milestones. And mostly it's the language that they don't have. They're not verbal. Okay. So that's how, and if they...
So like cognitive and expressive skills?
Expressive. Sometimes it's not even cognitively, they're not as delayed, but you see, like it's just the language they're not able to express. So giving them, different tools how to express themselves, because communication is not only verbal.
Exactly.
It can be, there's so many different ways you can communicate, and I think that's one thing that is very common people believe in, is like, oh, if a person doesn't have a language, they cannot communicate. So that's what we try and teach them, different ways of communication. And at the same time, advocate people too that, if he's writing, drawing, coloring, he's trying to express something. And always look at the strengths that these kids or these individuals with diagnoses have. Instead of, focusing what they cannot do, just try and focus what they can do and use it, utilize that to help them, be independent in their further, like in their future.
Absolutely. Well, it was Einstein who said that if you try to get a fish to climb a tree like a monkey, he'll think he's stupid his whole life. So only allow fish to do what it can, and that's to swim. And it's very much the same case for human beings as well. Focus on what we can do as opposed to what we can't. And as someone who did not speak for 7 years, how is what Kulsum's saying relatable to you?
Well, exactly, because I didn't know how to express myself through words, right? Because it's 7 years of not talking. Who do I talk to? How do I speak my words? And I found that I had one best friend, Ryan, who was my voice. So like you said, like you find tools or ways of expressing. Some could be through drawing or whatever. But I was 7, and I found like a safe place to talk. So I would whisper to my best friend Ryan as a 7-year-old, and I'd be like, Ryan, can you tell the teacher that I want some food? And Ryan would be like, teacher, Brittany wants food. And so I found like my little safe haven with him. actually, and then a few words to my parents.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
But like also was saying that you found other ways to communicate, that you would point or
like nodding, yes, or no, or
exactly.
washroom and things like that, and
like just one word
one
to convey
words.
the entire
or
message.
if there was like a whole family get together at my place and there was like people I wasn't really comfortable with, like the whole family, I would just hide in that little corner, or like I would just stay away.
Yeah.
But
and it was for 7 years.
7 straight years. I mean,
that you didn't. That you chose not to speak.
Chose not to speak. Like gradually, I would obviously talk more to like some people, like my grandparents or whatever. Like, but it was over a huge time frame, and it was hard. Right?
So, what was it, Brittany? Did you feel that that level of trust had to be really established and be reinforced before you opened up?
Yeah, I think that the whole example of Ryan being in my life, I think that's like a testament of the fact that he had to find something to make me feel safe in order to open up. For some reason, I still am discovering the reason why I had selective mutism, which is an anxiety for a child, and I don't know the real answer to that, but I do know that like in order for me to speak and to be who I am today, in that time frame, I needed to find an outlet to allow me to express those emotions and these thoughts and to have a voice.
Do you remember actually having thoughts?
Like as a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course I'm human. No, but yeah, totally. Like I was exactly like you were as a kid. I was the same, but the only thing that made me different is the fact that I was afraid to say who I am, or I was afraid to speak like a normal person. So yeah, like I had thoughts. The only thing was like I would go to bed by myself. I'd feel alone and I'd feel sad, and I had to like shake those feelings off because I didn't have anyone to talk to. So probably as a kid, I was going through depression, and I didn't even know what that was to me.
Kulsum, have you encountered anyone who has?
As I'm listening to her story,
I see you nodding. I totally get that.
I did have a client, a teenager, a girl who had selective mutism, along with autism, and of course a part of it was because she had autism. She had anxiety too. She didn't know how to socialize with the other kids. And being in a high school, there's a lot of pressure too on you.
Absolutely.
So I started working with her, and she used to talk to me in whispers. Her way of communication was texting.
Okay.
So she was
even though she was sitting next to you, texting away.
Even her friends. I had a couple times. I used to go see her actually because I told her mom that I want to start from home and build that trust, build that relationship with her, and then maybe she can come to the center, and maybe she will have enough relationship with me, that trust with me, and then she can I can introduce her to a bigger group.
Like Brittany was saying, have that safe space established.
So I was able to build that relationship with her, but it took a while.
How long did it take to build that rapport?
It varies with everyone. But it depending, how the relationship is, what kind of so I try to be, I talk to her like at her level. Trying to figure out, what her interests are, what a typical teenager who's going to high school would want to do. So she really liked doing hair and makeup and nail polish and
typical teenage
stuff. And so I let her do that on me. Like, okay, you want to do my hair? Go ahead, do it. And I used to talk to her about her interests, that what you like to do, and encourage her for what she was doing. Like, just telling her that you're doing a really good job. I really like how you did my hair, and I love your nail polish. Did you do it yourself? So just pointing on those little tiny things.
Sounds like a win-win situation for you. Your hair and nails done.
Exactly. So she started opening up, and then since we have very limited time with each client because we are with the Ministry of Child and Youth, so
so how long does a client get? Like about an hour a session, or
they get up to 2 hours a week.
Okay,
and then they get by the end of 20 hours they get reassessed, and if the needs are still very high, then we keep them in services. If they're not as high, they go back on the wait list because it's a ministry funded. They get discharged. So by the time she got discharged, she was talking to me. She was talking to 2 of her friends in school.
That sounds
so
like
there was a lot of
progress.
success.
Yes, indeed.
So it was a huge success for me too, and it was really reinforcing and rewarding for me too. Because the day I started with her and seeing her when she got discharged, there was a huge change in her.
And that was over the duration of 6 weeks?
10 weeks.
10 weeks.
10 weeks.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It is incredible.
From 7 years to 10
Yeah,
years.
exactly.
So
Talk about fast-pacing the process.
where were you when I did it?
Yeah, I know, right?
So I did. So it's all about giving her the confidence that she can talk, she can speak. She got bullied when she was a kid, when she was a child, like in a school. So mostly like the school was not like, the safe area for her. Like she would talk to her mom in the car. As soon as she gets to the school in the parking lot, she's just mute. And she has to pull up all the windows, close everything, like all the windows in the car before she would even say a single word to tell her mom how her day was. So
That's very sad.
Yeah.
Well, we will continue our conversation after the break. There is a lot to cover. I actually saw a movie recently, which I will tell you and share with you once I get back from the break. So stay tuned.
What makes your beautiful home a wise investment? Value, luxury and returns together. Who makes it possible to own your dream home in Dubai? Danube Properties. Pay as low as 1% per month with returns as high as 15% on your investment. Stylish lifestyle and affordable luxury comes to life with fully furnished apartments and state-of-the-art amenities, delivering on our promises. Danube Properties, the place to be.
जब भी बात होती है कार एक्सीडेंट की तो हम तलाश करते हैं एक लॉयर को और हमारे पास मौजूद हैं डेविड हिमोफार.
Yes, thank you. I'm David Himmelfarb. I have over 30 years experience in personal injury matters. We have a downtown Toronto location with over 22 lawyers to service you. And we speak your language, Urdu, Punjabi and Hindi. We have a great community liaison, Anjum Qureshi.
आप हमें कॉल कर सकते हैं 416-570-0157.
Years ago, an elderly immigrant couple dreamed of serving the poor, a halal food bank serving needy families, delivering food to the homeless, a free clinic for those without health coverage, a shelter for abused women and children. Since 1993, we've been serving people in need. Muslim Welfare Center. Service to humanity is service to Allah.
If you are looking for a reliable, professional, and affordable travel agency in your town, then your search is over. Global Travel and Tours is your personal travel partner. We are the #1 pilgrimage specialist for Hajj, Umrah, as well as ziyarats to Iran and Iraq. Global Travel and Tours is a one-stop solution for your travel, immigration, and Forex needs. We are IATA approved agents and an authorized Umrah agent. To book your holiday or Umrah package, please give us a call right now at 1-877-275-3555.
रोशन मुस्तकबिल और अपनों का साथ जन्नत से कम नहीं। आप भी कनाडा को अपना घर बना सकते हैं। ग्रीन स्टार इमिग्रेशन सॉल्यूशंस के रेगुलेटेड कैनेडियन इमिग्रेशन कंसल्टेंट शहबाज अकबर के साथ मास्टर ऑफ बिजनेस क्लास इमिग्रेशन, एक्सप्रेस एंट्री, स्किल क्लास इमिग्रेशन, रेफ्यूजी क्लेम्स एंड फैमिली स्पॉन्सरशिप्स. सो कॉल नाउ एट 416-508-3989. Green Star Immigration Solutions Canada. It's never too late to follow your dreams. जिंदगी के मुश्किल लम्हों में आपको चाहिए एक कॉन्फिडेंट और स्ट्रॉन्ग रिप्रेजेंटेशन जैसे सैयद एम रजा, पर्सनल इंजरी एंड लिटिगेशन लॉयर फ्रॉम सैयद लॉ. कार एक्सीडेंट या स्लिप एंड फॉल एक्सीडेंट की सूरत में साउथ एशियन कम्युनिटी की रिलायबल एंड स्ट्रॉन्ग रिप्रेजेंटेशन, यानी आपकी अपनी जुबान में साल साल से कम्युनिटी की खिदमत में पेश सैयद एम रजा, पर्सनल इंजरी एंड लिटिगेशन लॉयर फ्रॉम सैयद लॉ. अपॉइंटमेंट के लिए अभी कॉल करें 416-937-5046.
Dixie Electronics and Appliances is your #1 destination for electronics and appliances. Choose from TVs and home audio that will entertain your whole family.
to home comfort essentials for your living space and a wide selection of appliances to build your perfect kitchen. From selection to delivery, Dixie Electronics is everything you need. Price match guarantee and 0% financing available, all under one roof. Come today at 5120 Dixie Road, Mississauga, or visit the website at dixieelectronics.ca.
Welcome back, everyone. So prior to us going on the break, I said that I saw a movie recently, and perhaps the two of you may be familiar with it as well. It was actually on Netflix. It was called, I think, a boy called Poe.
Okay, no, I've heard of it.
Okay.
No.
Well, you'll have to check it out.
Okay,
Yes, it was very good, and I felt that it was very true to reality. And in this movie, the child, I think he was 10 or 11 years old, with autism, and his mom had passed away, so it was a single father contending with everything. I don't know whether it was a true story or not, but as I said, it seemed from my perspective,
from a true story.
Yes, for sure. It seemed very real to life. And the manner in which this child was bullied at school, it was heart-wrenching. I could not bear to watch it, and I'd be like, okay, tell me when the scene is over. And the fact that the school did not cater, it's not even a case of catering to, but accommodating. I was like, how did all these teachers and everyone miss this? And it was actually the superintendent or the person doing the janitorial services or the sanitary services who found the child locked in the locker and opened him up, like once everyone was dismissed from school. I know. And so as you said, that this girl that you're talking about, she was bullied a lot. But do you find like things of this extremity, which I'm mentioning in the movie?
Not to such extreme, but it was something related to her voice.
Yeah.
That, you know, and then the comment was made that she chose not to speak again in school.
Oh, okay.
And again, you know, it had to do, of course, with some of, you know, her social skills as well.
Yeah.
You know, of course, like having an autism, social skills is one of the hallmarks of, you know, being autism spectrum disorder, that the skill that, you know, they need some extra tools to be able to, you know, have those skills in the social setting. So so everything was, you know, like everything was kind of part of.
It was correlated.
Yeah, that she chose not to speak again in school.
Well, I would say that even for the people deemed as quote unquote normal, because who truly is normal. I get like, I would say just about every day, it's like, Fariha, you're so weird. And it's like, that's okay. I'm fine with that. And when we're in school and the teacher asks a question and we're like, oh, we know the answer, and we put our hand up and then we get the answer wrong, doesn't that shut us off? And like, what are the decisions that we make for ourselves that I'm never going to answer again? For myself, I know that it was a case of I'm never going to get the wrong answer again. So I was very hard upon myself. Like I had to know everything so that I would never be embarrassed or humiliated in that way. And to this day, like I'm an expert researcher. If anyone says anything, sometimes I'm like, oh, how did I know that? But you know, like it's in there from somewhere. But the pressure which I put on myself to strive academically at university or school or to excel was immense, and I really didn't need to do that. But then people can go the other way as well. It's like, well, what am I doing here if I'm going to get things wrong anyway? And they kind of shut off.
Shut down, yeah.
And for a person who is already vulnerable or sensitive or has these extra special needs and requirements, it can be totally devastating, I would say.
Yeah, they truly can. Like I said, I see so many cases, especially when I was working with the teenagers, like youth. There were quite a few cases of depression too that we came across with autism. They get depressed because they feel isolated. They're not as included. They're not as involved because, let's say, if they're playing a game, they just go by the rule. Like that's the thing about kids with autism. Not all of them. Of course, like it varies. But most of the kids with autism, it's very, they don't understand the abstract.
Okay,
it's very
so it's
black,
like
and
black and
white for them. Very, very black and white for them. They don't understand, they cannot make inferences. They do not get a lot of social cues.
Yes.
So kids who are,
don't wink at them.
Yeah, so if someone is using some kind of, like it's raining cats and dog, and they're like, what, like where's cats and dog? Why are you saying cats and dog? So those kinds of jokes. So when a group of kids are talking, and if there's a person who's not understanding, then they start they
feel left out.
They feel left out, and they start feeling isolated.
Exactly. I know when I don't get a joke, it's like, oh, that went over my head.
Exactly.
Yes.
Especially it happens when it can happen to us too, because English is not our first language. I remember when I moved here almost like 11, 12 years ago, I didn't get all the jokes, even though I went to international school when I was not here. But it was it was a culture shock. Right, you're completely coming into a different culture, not understanding. But of course, like we have the capability to adapt, learn and adapt in a culture, and in different culture. But these kids, like, sometimes they don't know how to adapt, how to how many phrases or how many idioms they're going to learn in their life. How much are we going to tell them? How much are we going to teach them? So these are some of the things that okay, if you don't understand, what is something you can do, what is something you can say, or what are some of the things you can do if you don't feel being a part of a group, instead of feeling isolated and being depressed. So that's one thing that I felt that kids with autism, who are especially adolescent or youth, and I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but
it's a thing nonetheless.
It's a thing with autism is it's an invisible disability. If you see a child who is not physically disabled, you cannot say that the child is disabled, especially kids who are not on the very low end of the spectrum, who are in the medium, moderate, or high end of the spectrum, who are lacking some skills, not maybe all the skills, but some skills. People,
and
if you
these
talk to
children
them,
are like academically brilliant.
Exactly, they go to regular classroom. They're not in a special need classroom. So people start, treating them, which they should be treating them as a regular child. But if they don't understand certain things, then
like the nuances of their behavior.
Then they're like, oh, why is he doing this? Why is she doing that? Why doesn't she get it? I have some kids who are working just on how to make connected comments. They don't know how to make connected comments. If someone is talking about
an example of that,
so that is, let's say you're talking about weather, that it's so cold outside, and the kid, if he or she doesn't want to talk about weather, if that's not their topic of preference, they will say, oh, my dog was really playful last night. So that's not making connected comments.
Oh, I understand.
So
the other person's
putting the puzzle pieces together, so how they connect. So I have kids who I'm just teaching them how to make connected comments, how to stay on topic. If you're talking to someone, how you can, even if you don't feel like it, you should still talk about it, at least make a comment and a question, and then how you end a conversation.
Yes.
So these are the skills, of course,
we take for granted.
We take for granted.
Very much so.
And we sometimes see it's more of, like modeling for us, like we see other people doing it and we learn it.
Yeah.
But sometimes these kids, they need, extra, teaching and tools. But again, at the end of the day, it's the understanding and awareness that plays a key role.
Yes.
For these kids not to get into the trap of isolation and depression.
So I've heard you mention a few times now the word tools and providing them the tools. And I have to ask Brittany, what were some of the tools, quote unquote, that you used for yourself to get through situations? Because like Wilson was saying that, for these children, they felt so isolated in schools or groups, there's no integration happening. But as you said, when there's big gatherings, even at home, you wanted to just isolate yourself.
Yeah, well, like you said, like when you're mute or you're battling something, you're depressed and you're like silently struggling, the one thing I did was take out a journal and start writing my feelings. Like writing became an outlet and a way to express myself before it even turned into a book or a career. So what I did is I started writing like my thoughts, my feelings, how do I feel today? So I started my morning every morning saying, how do I feel today? Every night, how do I feel tonight? And I started like opening these emotions through words, and I would hide it into my bed, and then I wouldn't let anyone obviously see my journal.
So did someone suggest this to you, or did you do it yourself?
So I had at 14, I had a mentor, a spiritual healer, like a life coach, who was like, Brittany, like I really feel like you are struggling with your voice. Like you may be speaking, you may be a teenager, but you're not expressing yourself. You're not talking. You're hiding things inside. So she's like, try writing, try journaling.
Yeah.
And so I did it, and I found this calling, this incredible connection to words, because for so long I didn't have that outlet, that confidence to speak my truth. And then when I found this connection with writing, with words, it became like this whole new pathway, because now I got to express myself in a completely different form.
Amazing. And I know that you write to this day. And what are some other tools that you use? So definitely writing is a great creative outlet for you, which you've developed into something further. And even I know that the first book that you wrote, you had included some tools to help other teens who may be going through things that you went through.
Yeah, so for me, meditation. So every morning I meditate, and people get this idea of meditation as this whole like voodoo thing or whatever. It's a whole stigma with it. But when I meditate, it's nothing bad. It's just you sit in the moment, you sit in your thoughts, and you ask yourself, how do I feel right now?
Okay.
The same thing with work.
So it sounds like a lot of like just introspection.
Mindfulness. It's sitting with your emotions. It's letting your thoughts, your feelings go by. And you got to just surrender to it. So meditation is about surrendering. So when I was going through that, I had to come home, and like you said, like I isolated myself from my family, not just my peers. So I went into meditation. I played some calming music, and I just sat there and surrendered in the moment. And of course, that's not going to heal everyone, but that's going to bring upon like peace, right? Because peace is really important for people when they're going through all these thoughts and feelings. Peace is something that people need to find and feel.
Very much so. And it goes so well with what you had shared a little while ago, that when you go within yourself, you're kind of scared of what you're going to to see, right? Like what's going to come out when all those feelings come out. So from what you're saying, it sounds like that meditative aspect is being okay with whatever's coming and just letting it flow by.
I got a thought though also because when I was teaching meditation in the workshop we worked on Beneath and Beyond a few weeks ago at a high school, the thing that happened was I found there's a kid in meditation and she ran out of the class, and I was like, are you okay? She goes, no, like I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm crying and I'm emotional. And the teacher's like, is she okay? And I'm like, it's okay, because when you're going through meditation, or you're in therapy, or you're doing something where you have to take a chance to look inside yourself, things come up, and some things you don't want to see. So this teenager girl, this girl ran outside bawling her eyes out, like she was. I was like I was like heartbroken for her, but I also was really happy. I was like, yeah, she gets to heal. Breakthrough. But as someone like her, as a young girl who doesn't know how to handle her emotions, she was breaking and she was like crashing. And in that moment, what I would say, if a kid's going through that, is go talk to someone professionally. You're in a place now where you're emotional, you're vulnerable, and you're raw, and now it's the time to really heal it. And so I know the teachers, I'm sure, guided her to the social workers. I recommended it. Another girl also, the same thing, like was scared because she said that her peers think she's ugly because of her clothes, and she was crying. That's why she went through depression, because she was crying because she wants new clothes and she didn't have the money to buy it. And it's the whole idea of looking within yourself, and that's the tool, right?
Anything can surface. And even for any one of us, I'm sure that oftentimes don't want to share my emotions, right? Like we all go through
it. We want
it.
to hide it. We want to repress it, and we want to save it up for a moment. And when we do save it, it explodes. And once it explodes, it's the most painful moment anyone can go through. But it explodes, and you're like, yes, that's good.
For sure. Good for the next 2 hours. As the case may be. But thank you so much, ladies, for sharing so open-heartedly about your own experience. And it really has been a personal experience from both of you, of what you've gone through, what you've lived through. And I just wanted to say thank you so much from the depth of my heart, because I felt everything that was coming out. And I'm sure that each and every one of you felt it too. And also, we got some good tips, right? Regardless of who it may be, we have to exercise that level of understanding. We're so quick to make jokes about another, or to have those judgments and opinions. And do we really know what they're going through? Or when people show us the same type of behavior, do they know what we're going through? So both ways, we have to have that level of compassion and understanding, and definitely meditate, right? Yes, it helps.
And reach out. I think it's really important to reach out for help. I mean, if you're like a teenager and you're going through something, there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's reach out, ask for help, and surrender to your feelings, and find that peaceful calmness, right? And once you do that, just, talk about your feelings, express it through art, through dance, through writing, through any way.
Creative outlet.
Yeah, anything. But the most important thing through mental health, as someone who went through it myself and someone who teaches it, is to reach out for help and to get professional help from someone like you.
Thank you.
So the dream team, perfect companions, perfect guests for today. So thank you so much once again, and definitely, like Brittany recommended, get yourself help like Gulsum, the amazing Gulsum, who has a toolbox of ideas and things that can help you. And yeah, so
thank you so much. No, I just want to say thank you to you for putting spotlight on mental health. This is something we should be talking about a lot more. And like I said, mental health is, in general, it's an invisible disability. People don't see it. You don't know the person you're talking to. They might be going through something.
Exactly.
So and all those, especially parents, since I work with the kids, so just like a message for especially the parents who have kids with any kind of disabilities, again, like reach out.
And
there's no stigma, there's no shame. And there always look for the strengths, no matter what you're dealing with, what your child is dealing with, what they're going through, what they're diagnosed with. Always look for the strengths that they have and utilize them.
And maintain an attitude of gratitude. I was speaking to someone who said that there's an activity where everyone who has their problem puts it into a jar, and then they pick out another problem. And then when they pick out another person's problem, they're like, give me my own problem back, because this is something that I can handle. I can't handle another person's. But thank you again for being here and for your wonderful tips and suggestions and wisdom.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining me this week as well as every other week. And next week I will have some more amazing guests for you. Thank you as always. I hope you enjoyed this segment. And if there's anything that you want me to bring to you, then please let me know. Send me a message, as you guys often do. And you send me so much love, which I really, really, really appreciate. So until next time, goodbye and God bless.
Knowledge, integrity, experience, and service. These are really the elements you are looking for in a good financial professional. Whether it is life and critical insurance to protect your family and business, retirement savings to live comfortably, education savings to educate your children, group health benefits to safeguard your employees, or travel and super visa insurance for your friends and family. That's what Zaid Syed of Arouge Financial brings to your table. Call him at 905-624-0008 or visit arougefinancial.com.
The law professionals at TM Law, providing professional services in the GTA in the areas of civil litigation, criminal defense, family matters, and real estate, serving the community in English, Punjabi, Hindi, and Urdu. For more information, call Tahir Majid, barrister and solicitor at 647-838-4773, or you can visit tahirlaw.ca.
अपने प्यारों को बुलाइए कनाडा में बसाइए with ICC immigration मुस्तकबिल संवारे आसानी के साथ ICC के साथ
ICC इमिग्रेशन के RD, MD और उनकी प्रोफेशनल टीम हेड ऑफिस मिसिसागा से आपको सर्व कर रहे हैं। बिजनेस वीजा, स्टूडेंट वीजा, वर्क परमिट, स्पॉन्सरशिप या किसी भी अप्रूव कैटेगरी में आप अपने प्यारों को कनाडा बुलाना चाहते हैं तो अभी कॉल कर लें 905-461-2424। It's 905-461-2424।
ICC immigration
Are you sure about it? Let's do it then.
The family law lawyers at Alam Law Chambers will be with you during your stressful divorce and custody battle so that the best possible result can be found for you and your children. Reliable and affordable. Alam Law.
अब हासिल करें रियल एस्टेट प्री कंस्ट्रक्शन की एक्सक्लूसिव डील्स अर्बन रियल्टी पॉइंट ब्रोकरेज के साथ, जैसे एम सिटी कॉन्डोज, डाउनटाउन मिसिसागा का लाइफस्टाइल एंड ट्रांजिट सिटी कॉन्डोज एट डाउनटाउन वॉन, जहां से है टीटीसी सबवे की डायरेक्ट एक्सेस, डिटैच्ड होम और फ्री होल्ड टाउन हाउसेस की एक्सक्लूसिव डील्स और रीसेल्स के लिए अभी कॉल करें मोस्ट ऑनेस्ट एंड एक्सपीरियंस रियल्टर्स और सलान बेग एट 416-779-6047 और इशरत लाइक एट 416-707-1864.
More shopping?
Yes, on my home.
Welcome to Pan Am Blinds Limited. My name is Bobby, and I would like to introduce our very newest product. It is only with us with Pan Am Blinds in improved.
It's combination of
and silver shades, so Venus shades, or Shangri-La shades. So it's a very unique and new product in different color. It's an energy saver. You can save your 85% energy, and also it has child safety features over here. If you see here, if it goes down, it will open itself and you will see through from this, but ultraviolet rays controlled. No UV light will come in and you can see out, and people, they can see very slightly. Please come to our store and see how many beautiful colors we do have and enjoy your comfort of life.
Are you confused about the new mortgage rules that you may or may not qualify for your mortgage or for your next investment property? Do you need expert mortgage advice? Call Team Salman today to get the right advice and find out how you can qualify for the mortgage you deserve. Call today or visit us at www.teamsalman.com. We deliver mortgages.